This is Professor E. So we'll continue discussing Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to go over the most important concepts. As you can see, Microsoft Excel is open. So I started the new worksheet. So let me show you some very interesting things that you can do when you have like a sequence of items that you want to add. For example, if you have the same number and then you want to repeat it many times, so you can just select the cell and then you can just move your cursor until you get to the bottom right. When you get this black plus sign, then you can drag. So that's going to copy as many times as you want. So you can see right here. So you select it and then see that? So now what about if you have a sequence? So if you have sequence, you have to select two of them. So you can tell, it's like you are telling Excel that this is a sequence 1, 2 by adding 1. So here it's not enough to select one cell, you need to select both of them. And then you do the same thing. This is called fill series. And then it shows you. So this is an easy way to add numbers, especially sequence of numbers. And the same thing goes, what about if you are going by 2? Same thing. So I'm going to put, let's say, 2, 4. You select both, and then you drag, okay? The same thing, what about if I'm going by 3? It's the same thing, 3, 6, 9, and so on, okay? So you select, and then you can finish the rest. Also, the month of the year, you can also do that. January, for example, and then you select, and then it shows you the rest. Okay, regardless whether you are using an abbreviation or the entire month. See that? Also, if you have maybe the days of the week, Monday, so if you put just Monday, so you select, and then you fill the series like this. Okay, or maybe you have quarters, so quarter 1. So if you put quarter 1, quarter 2, 3, 4, and so on, it can be repeated. Okay, the same thing, you can have like item 1, item 2, and so on. So item 1, item 2, so you select, and then the same thing. So that's an easy way to fill in the, okay. So now let's get started with something so we can learn a few more features. Let's say we have the month of the year. So we have January. And then I'm going to go all the way to December. So you can see right here. And then I can put, let's say, the sales amount. So since it does not fit, I can go right here between the columns and double click. So that's going to give me enough space. And then I can put 12,000. And then 34,000. And then 29,000. And then 18, 250, 32, 450, 16,000, 38,000. So I'm just going to put like a random numbers, 29, 120, and then 30, 200, 14, 520, 25, 600, and 6,900. Okay. So these are the numbers. So you can see these are numbers. I want to change the way they look so it shows with the dollar sign and everything. So the best way is to select one of them. You don't have to, or you can select the whole thing, but you can select at least one of them. And can you see it says the general? So you can go right here, it says number, and then you go and pick currency, that's the category. And then you can specify how many decimal. By default, it is 2 decimal places, but you can limit it to 1 or 0. And then make sure the symbol is visible. Okay, now I applied it only to the first one, and then I can just copy the formula or the formatting to the rest of the cells. Okay, so let's say, for example, we have a commission rate here. Commission rates. So let's say commission rates, and then let's say for the first month we have 0. Either you can put it as a decimal number like this, or you can put 6%. Both of them work fine. Okay, so 0.06, 0.05, 0.03, just put things like, so this is if the commission rate, let's say, difference from one month to the other. So it says 0.2, 0.07, 6, 5, 4, 3, and so on, 0.2 and 0.5. Okay? So let's say I want to know what is the commission amount. That means by multiplying the sales amount by the commission rate, I can put the commission. That means the actual amount. So I want this one to be multiplied with this. So I put the formula equal sign. Always the formula starts with equal sign, and then you select. That means get this number, whatever it's in there. So I should not put 12,000, because what about if the number changes? So put the reference, like the location. So this way, if this number changes, it should reflect here. And then you're going to put multiply by the commission rate. So that's going to give me 720. And then you apply it to the rest. Okay. So sometimes you need to be careful that you get that black plus sign. Because if you get only this, you are just copying. Or not copying the formula, just copying the numbers. So here, okay, so make sure that, again, because I don't have the mouse, I just have to, so sometimes you have to be careful. Okay, now, so as you can see, the first one will be B3, which is 12,000 times C3. And then once you go down, you're gonna notice that both numbers changes. So we are going down. Both of them are the same. So this is called the relative reference, when they keep changing, okay? Now, what about if I don't have this? Let's say, okay, I have only one commission rate for everything. Let's say here, I'm just gonna delete that. So let's say I have the commission rate right here. Commission rate, which is 5% for everything. So let's say here we have 0.05. Now I want to calculate the commission here, but using the same rate, which is 5%. So for this one right here, I'm going to put equal sign. I want this multiply by this, right? So that's going to give me the first one, correct, no problem. But when I try to copy the formula, what happened? Look what's going to happen. It's going to give me a 0, 0. Why? Because the program keeps going down. So the first one is fine, B3 times B17, which is this one. But the second one, pay attention, we have B4 is going to go down, and then here is going to go down too. So you are referring to this. But there is nothing in here, which is 0. So that's why you got 0 for all of them. Now I want the Excel to stay at 0.05. That means that should not change. That means multiply everything by B17. So this is when it's called the absolute reference comes into play. So absolute value, that means keep focusing on that number, don't change it, don't make it relative. So to do that, you have to put the $sign before and after the letter B. So you're gonna go here and then. So now it's not gonna change if I hit the enter key and then I copy the formula. So it's not gonna change. See that? Oh, because I changed this one. Oh, okay, let me change the number. I don't know why this number changed. So let me go back. Well, the numbers. I want to go back to the original number. I don't know how they changed to 12, so I didn't pay attention to it. There we go. That's the original one. So I'm going to keep them like this. Oh, no, that's not what I want. So I'm going to go like this and just change, just copy them. I just want to copy this. I don't want to copy the formula like this. So I'll just copy them and we're going to change to currency just like the rest. Okay. And then maybe the dollar sign. So again, so when I multiply by the commission rate, which is 5%, I want to make sure that all of them are multiplied by the same thing, which is 0.05. Now this one should not be a currency, it should be just a normal number with no, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so commission rate. So here, the commission should be whatever is in the column B multiplied by the same cell, which is 0.05. Here, I don't want it to change the second one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, equal sign, get the first one, multiply by this. Now, this one should not change. So I'm going to change it to absolute reference, absolute reference. And again, if I don't use this, then it's going to keep going down and there's no number in there. So I hit the enter key and then copy the formula. See, now it's working fine. But if I don't use this dollar sign, look what's going to happen. So it's going to become a relative, which means it's gonna, this will keep going down, 12,000, 35,000. But here it's gonna go down too, 0.05 is gonna go down, but there's nothing in there. So if I copy this, look what's gonna happen. It's gonna give me 0, 0, 0. So another shortcut for the dollar sign, if you don't want to put it yourself, so just put it anywhere in here and then use F4. Let me see, what is F4? F4. It work for you because I have the difference. So anyway, so you put the dollar sign before, but F4 is the shortcut. That's my computer is giving me a hard time. Okay, so hit the enter key and then copy the formula for the rest. Okay, so we call this absolute reference when you have the dollar sign before and after the letter. Okay, now I can use also I can select, I can do some basic formatting. I can go right here, cells, and then pick any of these available cells. The border also, you can change it, or you can, yeah, format cells. Or you can use the background. So there's a variety of things you can use. Okay, let me use something very nice. Okay. 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 Also, there is something I can do. Sometimes you want to change the orientation. Can you see this one right here? So it allows me to change the angle. So it's like 45 degrees or 90 degrees. So if I click on it, look. So sometimes you want to make it look like this, which is kind of cool. I like this. And then you can use it like in different ways. Maybe like, you can choose like the angle, 45 degrees, 60 degrees. So you can choose a lot of things. Okay. Now, what about if, let's say, during August, or maybe like June and July, okay, maybe I want to hide them for whatever reason. So you can select that, and then you can hide. I right-click, and then hide them. So they are there, but you cannot see them. See that? For some reason, you want to hide certain information from the user, okay? And then if you want to get them back, of course, you just right-click, or you select, and then unhide. Make sure I get this. Okay, yes. So maybe I should select this entire row, then you right click and unhide, or maybe you should select August. So select entire row and then unhide. Still cannot see, so it's between May, so May, I think between May and August. So I can select it and right click and hide. Okay. Or you can delete it if you don't need it anymore. Or if it's not, you can right click and delete. So you can delete rows, you can delete columns, you can increase the height of the row either by right click and then the row height and then change it, or you can just physically or manually, you can just, increase that for whatever reason. So you have to do flexibility here. Okay. And if you double click, it's going to give you the right or the normal height. Okay. Of course, also we can see this one for course sheet number 1 is not meaningful. So maybe you want to change it to something more. So for example, I can rename it. I can call it, let's say, North region. Okay. So let's say this is the North region. And copy this, for example, because I don't want to waste time with copy. And then I have South region. So it's going to be the same thing, but all the numbers are different. So you can just create a new one. So this a new one, and then double click. Okay. And then we change this one. For example, let's say, okay, 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, 9,000, 12,000. Okay, 12,000, 14, 15, 20. Then 17,000, 13,000, and then it's 24,000. Okay. So now for this one change automatically. Okay, because we have B3 multiplied by B17. So let me make sure if I apply, it's going to be the same. There we go. Okay. So that's now what about if I want, so I'm going to change this one right here to right click. I'm going to call it South region. So South, okay. And then maybe I can change also the color. They look even better. They change the tab, it's called the tab color. So just to make them look different. The same thing right here, you can just right click, tab color, and then choose different one. Okay. Now the question is, what about if I have a long list? Let's say I have data all over the place, but I don't want this to change. I want it to basically to freeze. What you can do, you can just select the entire thing, and then you go to freeze. You go to home. Let's see, let me get this one out of the way. And then you can freeze. Usually you go to view, and then can you see freeze right here? So the program is going to ask you, you want to freeze the top row? Yes. or the first column. Usually the program does a very good job, depending on what data you have. So I'm going to choose the top row. So as you can see right here, if I, okay, see here, okay. So you select, and then you freeze the top row. Okay. Start the okay, first one. So I need to make sure I select this. And then you go and then freeze the top row. Okay. Now, it's not working. Let me try the left column and see if it's working. Normally it works. So if I use freeze and then I put freeze the first column, maybe I didn't click it correctly. So if you can see that's working, but works for the left one. So let me try it for the first column. What about if you want to freeze not this one? So let me unfreeze this one first. So how you do that, you select and then you go to the same place and then unfreeze. So now it's normal. Now I'm going to try the top row. Hopefully it works this time. So I'm going to put freeze. Maybe I didn't click. Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm going to put here. Maybe I didn't click correctly. So now, for some reason, I did. That's the first row. Okay, what I need to do is make sure I move this one because it says the top row, and this is not the top row. Now it becomes the top row. So now, if I select, it will work because now it is the top row. See now, it's working. So this is a very useful feature because sometimes you want the data to, to show, you want Excel to show all the data, but you want to keep the headers or the titles or the row intact. So that's a good thing to do. And then you can always unfreeze when you are done. Unfreeze, and it becomes simple. Okay. Another thing you want to make sure, especially if you have a big spreadsheet, so is make sure that the margin is the way you want it, depending on the restriction, on the instructions. You can change the orientation to landscape, maybe because we have more data, right and left than at the bottom. So you may want to change that. You can also change the size. Also, this is a very useful area. So let's say I have a lot of data, but I want to print only certain information. Let's say I just want to print this. So you can just put print area and set print area. So next time you're going to print, look, it's going to print only that. If I put print, it's going to show this. What about if I don't want the commission? Okay, that's fine. So you just have to say, I want to select only these two, A and B. Let's make sure that you specify, set the print area. So now when I go to print, it's going to print only the area that I selected. So that's very useful because you don't want to print the whole thing. People may get distracted. So you want to focus on a specific area. Okay. So we talked about the absolute and the relative references. Now there's something also. So we talked about the North region. Okay, let me just move this one also so there's no confusion. So I'm going to move this one so it becomes the top. And then the same thing for this one. Okay, just want to make sure they are in at the same level. Okay, so let's say I have two regions, right? North and South. I want to add them up. How can I do that? So I'm going to create another page. Okay, so let's say, okay, so I want this one to be here. So I'm going to call it the total. Okay, so rename it. I'm going to call it. Okay, So I'm going to copy this. Okay. So let's say the total. I'm going to put this right here. So I'm going to copy it. And then how can I calculate the total from two different pages? So let me show you how we do that. So let's say this is the total right here, which is whatever the amount is in the north region, which is this, plus, and it's like you want to add the total here. Let me do that. So I'm going to put the total is these two together, okay? So you're going to put this plus commission. So that's the total, that's fine, including commission. And then for the south region, it's going to be the same thing, the total. And then I'm going to put equal whatever the sales amount plus commission, hit the enter key. And then I'm going to copy the formula to the rest. Okay. So if you see these pound keys like this, that means it does not fit. So you just have to double click. So this way you have enough space. Okay, so I want to add the north region, this guy right here, with the south region, and I want to put it in the third one. Okay, so I'm going to put here equal. Okay, you put equal, and then you are going to go to the north region and then select this. Look, select, and then hit the enter key. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to put a plus, and then I'm going to go to the south region and then select this, and then hit the enter key. That's a different page. See that? So this is, look, D2 from the north region and D2 from the south region. So that's an easy way to basically to link the different pages, different worksheets, and then you copy the format. So that's a very powerful tool that we can use. So this is called the 3D references, 3D. Okay, we talked about absolute reference, the relative, that's the one we use frequently, and then the absolute when you don't want it to change, like what we had with the 5%. So we use the the dollar sign. This is called absolute reference. But for this one we use relative because there's no dollar sign. So because it keeps changing, like look right here, B2, it becomes C3 and so on. So when it changes, keeps changing, it's relative. If it stays the same, like for example here, it's always B60. So that's why I put the dollar sign. Even if I go down, it's B16, B16. The first one changed, but the second one does not change. So this is absolute value. Okay. What about if you want to add, let's say, okay, I have this one right here, and I want to add the dates. Oh, you can put the dates maybe right here. So you just have to put equal sign, and then there is a function called today, and then you hit the enter key. Okay, so that's a a good one to use. Sometimes you want to change this one so it looks like a table. So you can do that. You can just select the entire one. And then I'm going to explain why sometimes it's a good idea to change it to a table. So you can just change it, as you can see here, format as a table. Okay? It doesn't really matter here which, which style you want. So let's say this one right here. So why is it powerful? So here it's just usually it's the Excel does a good job figuring out the cells to be involved. But here make sure you check if the first row is the headers, which is the case. Can you see this drop down menu? So this allows us to sort the data. So sometimes you want to sort them, let's say by cells. You want to go from largest to smallest, or from smallest to largest, or from based on commission, or based on the total, or any other criteria, would be a good idea. Now, what about if I'm done with this one? I don't want to use it as a table. I just want to change it back to what it was. So easy way is just change it to the range as, so I'm going to put right here. Either you uncheck this one, that's the easy way. Uncheck this and it's gone. Or you can just right click and change it to range. I have a problem with this. Right click, okay. Right click, and then it should have something to change it to, usually change it to range table, and then convert to range. So it's going to say yes, and then now it's back to normal. Okay. So of course you can calculate here the average. You can you can find it. And by the way, even like for the table, I forgot to mention this one. You can select and then format it as a table. Okay. And then also you can include the total row. That's a very powerful tool. So you're going to calculate in easy way the total right here. See? So you can add this just by selecting or by checking this box right here. And then all of these are powerful because if you don't have the header, then just uncheck this. Okay? And the last column, first column. So sometimes you have to specify. And remember, when the table is selected, you're going to see this table design. But if there is no table, let's say I change it back to where it was, or the table is not selected, you're not going to see this. Okay. So if I put right click, and then there is no table right here, you're not going to see the table design. It's only when you select. So sometimes people, they start looking, oh, I don't see the table design here. Why? Because it's not selected. You have to select it like this. Then you're going to see all the properties about the table design here. Okay. So all of this, you're not going to see it unless you have the table selected. Okay. Other than that, so let's see, so find and replace if you are looking, if the program is too big, or maybe so you want to replace or you want to find something, so you can use the find feature. Also, this is also besides what we learned, you can also sort and filter, especially when you have a different criteria. For example, you want to sort them out by the cells, and then after cells, make sure you sort them by salespeople and so on. So sometimes you have more than one criteria, so you can use this. And then also you can custom that sort to meet your needs. Okay. This is if you want to clear any formatting. So if you put clear all this formatting that we did will be removed. This is to insert rows and columns. I think there is a video about that, and then you delete either the columns, and also this is the formatting. We talked about the conditional formatting. There is a video specific for this. Okay. And then we talked about formulas, page layouts. Okay. So I hope you find this. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, here. Let's see. Anybody has any question? Okay. So I hope you find it useful. Make sure you watch all the videos in D2L, because it covers pretty much all the most important parts, which is the charts, the functions, the different type of functions, max, min, sum, average, standard deviation, PMT, F statement. So I'm sure you're going to find it helpful. All right. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, like always, make sure to reach out. Thank you.